Hi, everybody. Welcome to 6 Months Later, the podcast 180 Days in the Making. It's the podcast where we talk to interesting people about their lives, and then we check in with them 6 months later to see if they still think we're cool or if they think we're even cooler.
But
I am your host, Matthew Shadorn, and I am joined, as always, by my super cool co-host.
Tara Newton Wordsworth, yo.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, never mind. I take it all back.
Blew that out of the
Blew
water.
it so fast. It was
Sorry.
so hard. Anyways, how are you doing today, Tara?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Matt. I think a little tense, but that's just part and parcel of being alive these days. How about you?
I'm all right. I've been doing kind of basic stuff. I understand, so listening back 6 months ago when I would ask how you're doing and you would say things like, I'll do the voice. I'm living life on the edge. Yeah. No, wait, that's not the right voice.
Like
Anyways,
Cockney.
That was the worst. I don't even know where that came from.
I'm living life on the edge, are you?
Oh, me and me old Cockney friends. No. I don't know where that Australian. It's not even. I blanked on it. But you'd be like, "I'm living life on the edge," and I took a walk, and I'm like, "That's the saddest thing I've ever heard." And now, the big report is like, "I went on a walk today." Me and Tavish went to the park. It was pretty epic.
Now that you've got kids, you have some level of understanding.
Yeah, it was like the big thing today was we pushed him in the stroller, and he was awake for some of it and saw some trees, I think, but I don't even know if he can see that far.
That's so cute.
But yeah, I have been having a pretty quiet week. We bubbled with my sister-in-law and her partner, and they came over for the weekend, and they got to see the baby for the first time, which was exciting.
That's so nice.
But then, it was the same thing where he was hard to settle from 8 to 10, and I was just like, not for anything they did, but I would just get the fuck out of my house. I just wanted to get the fuck out of my house. I cannot deal with this baby and spend any bandwidth on having another person in the house. But anyways, how has your week been, Tara?
Do you know, I bumped into someone today while we were walking on the common, and he was like, "Oh, how have you been?" And I was just like, I have no idea. I just don't feel like anything really happens. It's becoming one of those questions where it's just like, oh, I don't know, I'm alive, we live week to week. I just don't know. I guess it's been good. I bought a mirror on the weekend. That was nice. I took the boys for a walk today, through most of which Sammy was just whining and screaming because he wanted to ride this new bike we got him, and he's just not very good at it yet, which, he's getting there, but he was getting very frustrated.
And you were like, you can't ride this bike out in public because you're embarrassing me. So you just have to walk for now.
It's like, just ride the bike.
We'll ride this in the back of the house where nobody can see it.
Yeah. It's like, you either start riding properly or I'm not taking you out.
But then, you're a great mom, by the way.
and then I spent, oh my God, this is exciting. We got HelloFresh this week.
Oh yeah.
You've been having HelloFresh since you had Tavish, right?
Yeah, my parents have been subsidizing us to get HelloFresh. In fact, they were like, "What do you want for your anniversary?" And we're like, "More HelloFresh."
It's so good. Have you been loving it?
I've been enjoying it. Yeah, it's nice to just have a bag of ingredients that you can spill out on the counter, and then a giant card with pictures to tell you how to make it. So
I just love not having to think about what I'm making, because I felt like I just couldn't take another day of having to think about meal planning. So it's been awesome. However, I spent this evening making this, fairly elaborate risotto, which I was really excited about. Mm-hmm. And then Charlie would not touch it. And I'm just finding it really hard. I just find it really hard because he's sitting there and he's like, I'm not hungry. It's like, well, you've been asking me for the last 2 hours for snack, and so you are hungry. It's just, I don't know. I just can't. I'm really struggling. So I don't know. Parenting is, no one talks about this stuff. I read this post about mum rage recently, and I really gotta. I don't yell at him, but I really want to. You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's the difficult thing, is I really feel like, God, I want to yell right now.
It's you wouldn't never hit your kid, but you get why some people do.
Yeah, I definitely it's just that thing of oh my God, it just brings up this real anger, which just seems so unnecessary. I don't even know why. It's
just they're very frustrating,
Yeah, and I think I was reading a thing about it after they went to bed, because I was like, what is wrong with me? And then it said it basically comes from a primal thing of you want your children to survive, so you believe that it's really important for them to eat this meal, and that's why you get so frustrated. But actually, we live in a time where it's not like this is the only meal we're going to have for the next week. Like we have enough food to survive. We don't have to eat at every meal, you know, but that survival instinct is still deep in us.
Yeah.
Which is funny to be talking about this as we're about to talk to Susan Denham Wade, who wrote this fantastic book, and she talks a lot about evolution in it.
Yeah.
So it kind of leads nicely into that. But yeah.
But before we get to that, any predictions for 6 months?
I don't know. I feel like the world will be opening up again, hopefully. I feel like it's going to be, I don't feel like it's going to be a repeat of last year where we were like going back into lockdowns by sort of the end of the summer and it started getting worse and worse. I think it's going to progressively be okay, hopefully.
It's going to get better and better.
What about you?
Here's the thing I was thinking about today is in 6 months' time, you know what I think is going to be big is harp music. Like music from harps and like other gentle melodies are going to be really big. Like that's going to be the next big thing. Because I think that when people get out of lockdown and start going back and hanging out with other people, they're going to be like, this is too loud. I've grown accustomed to silence and I need to be eased back into it with gentle, soft music. And I think that the harp is going to have, guys, buy your stocks and harps now, which is no good to anyone because they're only hearing this in September. But if you were listening to this when I'm saying it on March 22nd, yeah, I'm going to get into some harps. I think harps are the thing of the future. And that's what I'm saying 6 months from now. I think people are just going to be like, people are going to go to bars and be like, it's too loud. I can't anymore.
Yeah.
That, you know, the calluses we've grown on our ears have fallen off over the last year. And now we cannot take loud noises.
Yeah.
Harps.
I love it. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful prediction. I hope it comes true.
Me too. Anyways, so with those rock solid predictions, shall we get on to our interview of Susan Denham Wade?
Yes, please. Woohoo.
Please welcome to the show, Sue Denham Wade, author of As Far as the Eye Can See. Sue, how are you doing today?
Well, today was a pretty good day, I think. The sun was shining and I live in the South Downs and it's lambing season. So there are hundreds of really cute little lambs around. So on my walk, I encountered quite a lot of them.
That sounds delightful.
Yeah, no, it's a highlight. Although it does also highlight the fact that it's exactly a year ago that we went into lockdown because I remember, you know, having lots and lots of long walks first time round.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't realize it was exactly a year today.
I think tomorrow is the anniversary of the main announcement. You know, the stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, isn't that crazy?
Unreal.
It's been a year.
It seems like it's been just 100 years. Which is time flies, isn't it?
How's it been for you?
For me, long. It's long. I think I've probably done more mothering in the last 12 months than in the last 20 years put together.
Really?
Well, just having the kids here, which in the first lockdown was brilliant because I have 4 kids. They were all here.
Wow.
Which they normally aren't. Normally none of them are here. So because my eldest one is at uni and the other 3 board during the week. So anyway, we were all here. So there was just so much cooking and then cleaning and trying to just G everyone along. So it has been a long year. Now my son is back. He's back at uni. My second child, she's on a gap year. She managed to get away earlier in the year, so she's in Mexico. Poor thing.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, where they're just having a completely normal time.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks so nice over there.
No, amazing. So I'm just dealing with 2. So it's been a long year, but you know, no, I don't know, sunshine, lots of sunshine.
It was a lovely day today.
It was a lovely day today. And I've had the jab.
Oh, yeah. Oh, have you really?
Oh, well done. When was that?
Yeah, I had it on last Friday.
The first or the second?
Fantastic.
The first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I think you have to be over 80.
Did you feel okay?
Yeah. I didn't mean to insult you. I wasn't implying it.
No, well, you know, I'm in the latest category to be eligible. Put it that way.
I think I'm in the category next month because it's like over 40 next month. So
yeah.
So that's bittersweet to be like.
Well, yeah.
They invited me for one the other day, but I'm not really sure why I don't know whether it's because I have small children. They thought I was high risk. Anyway, I said no because I was just like, well, I think high risk people should like have it first who are genuinely high risk. I don't want to take someone's vaccine. I will have it, but when it's my turn, you know.
Someone told me today there was this scam going around that in sort of local to me, but it might be happening elsewhere as well, that they'd got a WhatsApp from a friend saying, oh, I'm so-and-so from the village church is working at the vaccine centre and they've got hundreds of extra vaccines available. So as long as you're over 40, turn up between 2 and 4 because they don't want to waste them. Anyway, so it's definitely a scam apparently because another friend of mine was actually working at the vaccine centre. But so someone's pulling this horrible prank to try and get all these people to turn up to try and get a jab. You know, not trying to jump the queue, just trying to use up the supplies as far as they've been told. And it's a scam. Isn't that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really mean. I'd heard something like that.
It was just a prank. They're not like showing up and being like mugged or something. Like...
No. It's a prank.
Okay.
It's a cruel prank, I think.
It is rather cruel. Yeah, that's mean. But we're glad you got your jab.
Did you feel okay afterwards?
I was completely fine. Yeah, I had a bit of a sore arm, but only like kind of if I poked it. So yeah, no, it was absolutely fine.
Yeah, which is what I would do if I every time I'm so bad with it.
Just be like, why is this still hurting? Because you keep poking
I say to my wife, like, look, this thing where I'm putting my finger all the way into it. Like, why is it still hurting?
Yeah, that can hurt.
So, Sue, thank you so much for talking to us today. Your new book, when did it come out here in the UK?
It's actually been out for a year.
Oh, yeah.
But it's coming out in paperback in the summer. And it's going to come out under a slightly different title. We're changing it to A History of Seeing. It was, as far as I can see, A History of Seeing. But we're switching to A History of Seeing in 11 Inventions because I and the publishers felt it could just be a little bit more, does what it says on the tin in terms of the title.
Oh, okay.
So because they're going to sort of slightly, it was originally marketed as kind of a quite highbrow non-fiction book, but it's actually, we're trying to appeal to a more general audience this time around. So because lots of the feedback we got from readers was it's an easy read and it's easier than it looks kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's really enjoyable. I can't believe I've been so drawn into it. Like I've learned so much. I feel like I've just been like really excited and it's taken me a long time. Like I'm only halfway through because I've been reading it quite slowly because I want to fully understand everything. And then along the way, I also Google things that you're talking about because I really like seeing the pictures of Lucy and that sort of stuff. Like I really like to sort of, look into, and then I was reading articles about some of the things as well. And I don't know, it's just amazing. Like you've written it so beautifully. I love that it's obviously very logical and based in science, but at the same time, there is something that feels a bit sort of supernatural or mystical or kind of magical about it. Because you have this lovely way of talking about that. I mean, there are, the way you talk about religion and the different beliefs, like there's, I don't know, it feels much more than just a sort of non-fiction book to me. It's a real story, you're really drawn into it.
That's so nice for you to say. Thank you so much. But I have to say it was, I mean, I hope what you might be talking about is kind of the wonder that I felt, because it was, this isn't a book by an academic who's just kind of, crunched out the lectures they've been giving for the last 10 years and, just tied it up into a book and flogged it. It was actually a journey of exploration for me to dip into this subject and go right back, just from, as I sort of start off the book with the story of the dress, the internet sensation, one of the first really, really global memes of the blue and white, or the white and gold or blue and black dress. And that got me sort of really wondering about how does seeing work and how did it evolve? And if you've got people sitting next to each other in the same room looking at the same screen and seeing the same image as different, completely different, then how does that go back through history? And, as you'll have read, there's all kinds of experiments that actually people from different cultures do genuinely see different things given the same thing to look at.
Yeah.
So all of that I found completely amazing. So hopefully that maybe comes across in some of the way of really expressing.
Yeah, no, it really does. And like Tara was saying, the section on mirrors I was like, that was so interesting. The way that just like being able to see your own reflection kind of seems to fundamentally change the way that a society operates.
Yeah,
and it was just like that.
I know, isn't that amazing?
That was so crazy. I never heard anything about that or anything about that. And I'm not finished. I'm really enjoying it though. But
Hey,
I
it just
promise-
gets better.
I get in 6 months. I promise I'll be done. My excuse is,
We'll both
yeah,
be
I have
finished.
a young, I have a 7-week-old. So
Oh, wow.
That's my only excuse.
Yeah, he has a
Oh,
7-week-old
that's
baby.
fresh.
That's a good excuse.
Yeah, he's fresh off the vine, that one. It's taking up a lot of time. But I just finished the one about language, and I find the way that language develops, the way we see, and it reminded me of, do you know the idea of language developing how we see color, or like the fact that like there's some theories that like people couldn't perceive colors before they were named, and like, or they couldn't.
Yes, there's a theory about the color blue, isn't there? That Plato talked about the red wine sea, the wine red sea, and even though the sea is, we call it blue, and the word blue doesn't appear in Western languages until quite late on. Relatively.
And it was almost like they had to invent a way to make blue before they could name blue, and then kind of perceive blue. It's very weird, and I don't know. Anyways, I find that kind of stuff fascinating.
I think it's completely fascinating. Yeah.
And I mean, like the idea of colors, and you talk about the evolution of the eye, and I forgot what I was listening to, but I was listening to a podcast about this that was like, there's certain shrimps that can see like this insane spectrum of colors that we can't even possibly perceive, and I just like the thought of that is so fascinating to me, that there are all these colors beyond our visual range.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's and butterflies as well. They have an incredible range of color perception.
Yeah.
Actually, funny enough, I saw something at David Attenborough, just a clip of something on TV the other day, and he was showing that the program makers had managed to show, this is how we see this flower, and this is how a butterfly sees this flower, and some birds as well, they have different color perception than we do, and they can see various spots and certain things on petals that we just are completely invisible to us.
Oh, I've also seen that there was something with spiders, and the way that spiders spin their webs, it just looks like a web to us. But if we had the same visual acuity as an insect that they're trying to catch, it kind of looks like a flower.
Oh,
so
wow.
I've
never heard that. That's very cool.
I believe that's like, that's like one of those half-remembered science facts that I think I read an article about years ago. But it's like they do the same thing where they use that tool to their advantage in trying to capture insects.
Yeah.
But so you just kind of became fascinated with vision, because you used to work in the BBC.
I did, yeah.
And your background is kind of in business and things like that.
Yeah, so I was a management consultant. I have an MBA. I mean, I'm a real proper suit.
Right.
And so I worked in strategy at the BBC for many years, and then I ended up sort of suddenly having 4 children. So.
Sounds like a very involved process.
It can happen. It creep up on you quite fast.
Yeah.
And then we moved to the country for a year just to kind of, as a kind of fun experiment. And then we're still here. So, blah, 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 lots of life stories later. I'd been talking, my husband and I had been talking about a book idea that I had for years, which was about where do ideas come from? And so just exploring that idea of creativity. Anyway, by the time I got enough headspace and life space to really focus on doing that, creativity had just become this huge topic. It was when I'd first talked to him, we'd first talked about it kind of 20 years ago. You just couldn't, there were no books on that topic really.
Yeah.
There were, very, very few things of something written by an advertising exec 50 years ago, and then not much since. But by the time I got back to it, it was a huge topic. And so then, and the book had been written, 3 or 4 times over. So by this time I'd enrolled in a writing course, and the course work was to write a book. And my application had been all around this creativity / ideas thing. But I just thought there's no point writing this book because it's been done. And then the dress thing happened, and I was genuinely completely intrigued by it because I've always been really blind since I was about 5, and worn thick glasses and all of that stuff.
Been there.
So and I've had a sort of a lifetime of interaction with vision and how it works or doesn't work in my case. Anyway, and so just started digging into this thing, and then kind of these pieces started falling into place of these when these technologies came about. Huge other things happened in the cultures in which they appeared at the same time, and it was, as I say, it was sort of almost like a treasure hunt through history. Yeah. And I'm not an historian, but I can read, and it's amazing. There's all the resources of the world are available now online, or there's the British Library. Obviously, it wasn't COVID at the time, so you can get around, you can talk to people. So that was my writing career, sort of launched, I suppose.
I just think it's such an amazing way of looking at history as well. Like I felt like I learned so much about evolution as well, like, because I didn't really understand, obviously there's, the common idea that we've evolved from apes and stuff, but you go into so much detail as to how and why, and this idea of like essentially fire being the thing that kind of allowed us to almost come down from the trees and not need to hide from predators, and like just understanding why we evolved and what kind of pushed those different changes to the way that we were. I just found it really fascinating, and I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. Like I just hadn't understood it before, or it was like, well, why it was kind of like, well, why would we evolve, but this just was like, oh my gosh, it was amazing reading it. I really loved it.
But that's, you're absolutely right. So I'm much more interested in the why of history than the what. I mean, obviously the what, you need the what to get to the why, but that's always the question that I'm asking. Why did that happen? And I'm not a big person for the kings in this order or the battle of this or that. I don't read lots of those books, but I love popular science books and the histories, like the Sapiens, that takes us, that takes you a long way back, but also tries to explain why this happened, why that happened, what are the drivers behind all these things. And I think that goes back to my previous working life, because in strategy it's always about, well, if this happens, what will happen then, or what are the drivers behind this, why is this happening, and how does that sort of dictate what we need to do either in response to it or to get ahead of it. So it was sort of taking all that background and sort of applying it backwards rather than trying to look forwards.
Well, you can definitely feel that in the book, like it definitely, and it has that real kind of arc that kind of pulls you in and makes you want to keep reading. Like it's definitely, I'm not a huge, that's it. I do enjoy some nonfiction books, but I sometimes find sort of historical books quite difficult to read. And I was blown away by how enjoyable this is to read. Like just so effortless. Like you want to read more. You want to keep finding out. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens with the new release when it comes out. What was the second part of the name? What was the reason for that? The
11 Inventions. So the book is structured around these technologies that each of which contributed to building to how we see the world today. So it starts with fire, and I'm not sure how far through you are. So it starts with fire, and then it talks about art, mirrors, writing. I'm not going to get the order right, but and then continues through spectacles, the printing press, the telescope. If I got it in the right order.
Photography, movies,
moving images, and then the final one is the smartphone. So and because that's what we all look at all day long now.
I'm excited to read about that. And terrified.
It is very interesting and written. The section on the mirrors, I was like, why are you going on about mirrors? Like, they're just mirrors. Like, who gives a like? And then I was like, oh shit, like this is insane. Like when you get to the part where like as mirror technology, and to think of it as technology, I mean that's a fascinating thing to think about it as like, oh yeah, because there was a period when people just didn't have this thing, and they lived a completely different life. And then the way that the function of that would change society so impressively was insane. It really blew my mind. So that, and I'm very much enjoying it. I'm looking forward to
great. Well, I'm so pleased
getting through it. Yeah, no, it's so good. I apologize for not finishing it before we spoke.
No,
I said that.
It is quite meaty, but also there are a lot of rabbit holes. So like you, Tara, it's like, oh, that's interesting. I'm just going to look, have a little explore about that. So I get that.
Yeah, and I really find finding time to read at the moment very difficult, because I have two small children, as you know, and I have them all day, every day. And and anyway, I've been reading a Stuart Lee book now for about 2 years, and I'm still only about halfway through it. And it's not even that big a book. So, but I think it's just that thing of like Will was saying to me yesterday, because I was reading it, and he was like, you're really enjoying, sorry, Will's my husband. He was just like, you're really enjoying this, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, I'm loving it. And then I was telling him all this stuff. Also, he's color deficient. So it's interesting because he sees often when we're looking at something, I find it really blows my mind that he sees something completely different, and that has been really interesting in terms of talking to him about it as well. But, he was just like, God, it's so lovely to see you enjoying reading again so much, because I haven't done it for a long time.
I feel your pain. I do feel your pain.
Yeah, the time thing. But what are you really into at the moment? What's life like for you right now?
Well, I'm trying to work up a writing idea that I had a little while ago, ago, but it was actually a while ago now. It's around the theme of parenting, but kind of the problem of getting going with it in my head is that because of everything that's been going on for the last 12 months, I don't really feel like the best parent. Just at the moment.
I'm sure you're doing your best.
Obviously everybody, but my theory about parenting is we all fuck up our children in our own way, but so it's actually going back to my old life, talking about business and so on. There's a huge amount of research in the business world about how to motivate people and to manage conflict and to get people to do what you want. And I started reading some of the latest stuff in relation to some paid work, other sort of freelance work I was doing, editing work. And I was thinking, God, this stuff is really, really interesting. And it's a long way from the old, command and control. The modern management theory is all about, getting underneath people's skin and coaching them. And, it's not bossing them around. It's inspiring them to do stuff themselves. And I just thought this is all really relevant. I mean, my kids are teenagers now, but I think it's potentially relevant to younger kids as well when you're just trying to think about how to, basically manipulate them into doing what you want. So anyway, that's the idea that I'm trying to work up. But then I keep on, kicking myself in the head and saying, you think you're going to say anything about parenting?
But I'm sure every single person who's ever written anything on parenting probably feels like that on some level.
I hope they do, actually, because you should feel like that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, because if you were just like, I have all the answers and I'm a perfect parent, I think that'd be quite worrying. But I think no one's a perfect parent, are they?
No, there's that lady.
But I really like the idea of manipulating.
I like the idea of motivating.
Motivating, yes, but manipulating. I think that's where I really want to be going.
I do. I think that's really great, though, what you were talking about, like where you can kind of essentially get them to think of it as though they're thinking of it themselves.
Yeah.
I think that would be great if they're, I will definitely be buying this book, because I feel like I would love if I could encourage my children to sort of think that they're thinking of coming to the dinner table themselves and not having to force feed them. Like it would be great. Yeah.
So in the process of working through this idea, are you kind of researching it, or is it something?
Yeah, so I'm researching it, and I've also got myself into a little bit of a spiral of uncertainty about sort of thinking, maybe this would be better as a blog or a podcast, or maybe all three. And then it's like there's so many things going, and then you just end up doing nothing, which is so I just need to crack on, basically. Now that the schools have gone back, then that because I've had been homeschooling and stuff. Yeah. Hopefully that it'll get easier to just have a bit more headspace.
Oh, that's nice. So Sue, is there anything these days that maybe is unwork related that you're like obsessed with or like really into? That you're loving,
I would be tipping my hand as a middle-aged woman to, not that I really like that expression, but I am old enough to have the vaccine. But I have been sea swimming this winter, which
really?
I thought was a great idea until I realised it's like every woman over 45 in the country is doing it if they possibly can. But yeah, so I've been winter swimming I live not that far from the coast, the south coast, and it's supposed to be really good for you. It's supposed to kicks off your sympathetic nervous system, whatever that is, but it makes you smarter, thinner, richer, taller. And it's a really wonderful thing. You do get this real high afterwards. And there's a whole sort of process of what's the best way to get in, and you don't do it fast. You sort of walk in and you put your hands in, so that because your hands absorb a lot of cold, so that helps you get used to it. And you don't stay in for long either. You just sort of have a sort of swim around for about less than 10 minutes, and then you come out and you get dressed really, really quickly on the beach. Yeah. And you have your flask of tea or whatever, or hot chocolate. And then sort of about 10 minutes after you get out, you have this incredible rush of, I suppose it's some sort of endorphin rush, but your body feels all tingly and you just feel like, wow. And then at about, halfway.
Is it hypothermia? Is that the rush? Is it?
Well, yeah, it's that.
You suddenly feel warm all over.
Yeah.
Lose a couple toes.
Want to go to sleep. It does make you really sleepy later in the day, actually.
Does it?
Yeah.
That's so when you do this, are you wearing like a wetsuit, a dry suit, or are you wearing just a regular bathing suit?
No, wetsuits are definitely for wimps, but I wear
shots fired.
But the thing that the acceptable face of wimpiness is to have neoprene gloves and booties.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And then just a normal swimming costume. So I mean, people do it in a wetsuit. And if you're wanting to do actual like a fitness type swim, where you actually doing some strokes and stuff, then you'd want to have a wetsuit. But this is really just kind of having a dip, splashing around, getting the buzz, and coming out again, and taking lots of photos always.
Yeah.
You're like, look at me, I'm in the sea and it's freezing.
They definitely get sent to Australia regularly.
Yeah. Wait, so how cold are we talking about? Like, were you sea swimming like in the depths of winter? Like,
well, yeah, but not. I only go on a nice day, sunny day.
Okay, yeah.
So it feels good even if it is really cold, and so the temperature. It's probably at its coldest now, and I think it's about 11 or 12 degrees in the water.
I don't like to be outside when it's 11 or 12 degrees.
That is cold.
So it is really cold, but it's, as I say, you don't do it for long, and you kind of build up to it, and it's a thing. It's a trend. Will I do it next year? I don't know.
6 months, so we're going to check in and see if you're still sea swimming.
Oh yeah, but then it'll have been through the summer, so that's
that's
cheating.
true. It's much easier. We'll be getting back into the fall, so we'll be like, is this gonna be sea swimming season again?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you go swimming with someone, or are you by yourself?
Oh no, I would never go by myself. I go with.
That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, no, I go with.
I was
with
going to say it sounds
socially distanced friends, and we just sort of park our kit in our distant spots along the beach and go in and.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because there's a lot of giggling that goes on, so that's harder to do.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to hugging people? I feel like that's like a really big thing for me. I just feel like, not for Matt, because Matt doesn't hug people, but
I'm dreading it now because the amount she talks about hugging, I'm afraid that if we can see each other again, she's just gonna hug me like.
Yeah.
I will never try and hug you again, Matt. That was a one-time thing. It was the most awkward experience of my life. So
we were all scarred by it. So don't worry about it.
Don't you worry, it won't be happening. But I do look forward to hugging other people who enjoy hugging. Is that something you're looking forward to as well?
I'm
Sue?
a hugger, yes. I want lots of hugs. Yeah, I've missed that.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Were you going to ask something, Matt, before? I feel like you might have been. Were you going to ask something?
No, I feel like I got all my questions out about sea swimming, which I feel is very fascinating. I did not know this was like this subculture amongst women
of a certain age.
Of a certain age. I didn't want to say that. I was trying to think of some other phrase.
Well, Sue did say it first, so it's not like you're.
Basically, women of my age. It's like, I don't know why.
A bit older than you, but yeah.
Yeah, but I had no idea about this subculture. This is great. Fascinated by this.
I'm excited to hear how it goes. I think you're certainly looking very invigorated and youthful, so it seems to be working.
Well, we haven't had any heating in our house for the last 2 weeks, so maybe it's just shivering.
Oh no!
Why?
Are you freezing? You must be freezing.
Well, no, because I'm 54, and you're never cold when you're 54. So.
Well, that's a benefit. Yeah. Oh, do you have any big goals for like 6 months' time that you want to have achieved in 6 months when we talk?
Well, I think I would have liked to have made some progress on my. Oh, and I didn't pitch you the title idea for this whole thing, for this this parenting idea, which is Mom BA. Or Mummy BA. Actually, maybe. What do you think? Because I have an MBA from Harvard, as it happens, which has been really useful in the school run for all these years. So this is the time that I need to. I'm bringing it back out. And anyway, so I hope I've made some progress on that by then. Whether it's actually set up a proper website or whatever.
So on the book/blog/podcast or some combination of those things.
Yeah, exactly. On the writing project, we'll call it that.
Yeah, that's good. And the book will be out paperback.
Yes.
Is it out in America or?
Well, it is. Yeah, yes. I'm not sure what's going to happen on the paperback version with America, but yeah, and I can't remember. Did I mention a different title? So
yes, different.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so that's exciting. So you've got that as your. But do you have like a specific? As in, obviously, you want to get the mum BA. Are we calling it mum BA?
Saying mom BA? You're saying mom or mum?
Well,
I'm saying mum.
Yeah. It's tricky, isn't it? Because I say mum as well, but it almost feels like it's kind of the market, the American market could be like, I should be going for that because it's just more oriented that way, MBA. I mean, I never ever go around saying, hey, guess what? I've got an MBA. Whereas Americans kind of do a bit more. So
you should really start saying that to people as soon as you meet them. Just be like, I've got an MBA, just FYI. So
I'm not messing around. Just got this MBA.
Yeah. So I hope that I've kind of got made some concrete steps on that. Maybe worked it up to a proper book proposal, even better, sold the book proposal, and or got it up and running as a website. So
okay, that's exciting. Well, we can check in on that and hold you accountable.
Yeah, that's really putting it out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good because I quite like the idea of like, I've got someone checking back in with me to make sure it's, like that's quite a nice thing to just help encourage you. So, and what about any big swing predictions for 6 months' time?
Oh, well, God, there's so many things that you could predict about. I'm not going to make any comment on coronavirus because who knows? Let's hope. No, so I'm going to keep it a little bit more small than that. But actually, it's not that small. So Harry and Meghan having a baby. Mm-hmm. We know it's a girl. She said that. Meghan said that. Mm-hmm. So my big swing prediction is going to be that they're going to call her Elizabeth Oprah.
Oh my gosh! Oh. Wow, what a name!
Elizabeth has a bit of a to Catherine and Will, who only gave Charlotte Elizabeth as a middle name, and then obviously Oprah for the new best friend.
Right.
Oh, I like that. I think it would be a great I think it would be great on their part if they do call her Elizabeth, because there's been so much sort of like as though it's them versus the Queen. So I think if I was doing their kind of, I don't know, whatever it's called when you're like managing somebody, I'd be like, you've got to call this baby Elizabeth.
I'm surprised. As famous as Oprah is, I'm surprised I've never met a child named Oprah. And
yeah, that's true.
That is true.
Yeah, I don't know. You think, I don't know. Maybe Oprah is so singular, nobody would even dare try to name their child Oprah. It's too much pressure, right?
It's kind of a funny name as well.
Yeah, I think it's actually technically misspelled. It's like father misspelled it on the birth certificate. I think.
How's it normally spelled?
I have no idea. I have no idea what the name was supposed to be, but I think whatever it was supposed to be, it was misspelled. So, anyways, but that might be apocryphal, but I like to believe it's true.
Well, I think that's a fantastic prediction because it's one of those real cement predictions as well that you can be like, well, this either happened or it didn't.
Yeah, well, I like to make myself accountable, so that will.
That's good. That's what we love too. We love
great.
We want strong choices. Just dig that hole and then just whatever.
Yeah.
I've dug many holes for myself in all the predictions I've done, being like, things are going to be great. I'm going to be going home to Australia for Christmas.
But that's just sad, isn't it?
Very wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Sue, we're not going to say goodbye to you because through the miracle of editing, we are going to continue this conversation seamlessly in 6 months' time. But one thing we do ask our guests to do is we ask them to start a sentence or a statement or a joke that they do not know how it is going to end.
Oh, my God.
And then we'll end the podcast with the beginning of that statement, and then we'll begin the next section with the end of the statement. Wait, I got myself turned around there. Man. As soon as I mess up the script, I've just
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I think it'll have to be something around Donald Trump. So Donald Trump's social media platform is going to it's A, strangle itself at birth, B, try to overthrow Western democracy, or C, not actually feature Donald Trump. And the answer is all of the above are true.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, has it? I meant to look up the social media thing that he created, but I haven't seen it. Did you go on and check it out?
Well, it wasn't. He didn't create it in the end. I mean, not that he was ever
because he doesn't create anything
in person going to create it. Yeah, but no, a site launched in July called Getter, and it's been set up by a guy who was one of his top people, and is run by Trump people. Right. But he's not on it. So it's set up to fight cancel culture. It's create a true marketplace of ideas in order to share freedom and democracy around the world. So that is the premise of this social media network. Which
I love freedom and democracy. Should I be on this thing? It sounds great.
Yeah, I don't think they like your kind of freedom and democracy, Matthew.
That's the funniest thing, isn't it? How they always phrase it in a way that makes you think like, but that's me.
I love those things.
Yeah. Well, apparently it got a little bit sidetracked. Like within a week of launching, it was flooded with jihadists who were all coming on and saying revolting things and playing beheading videos and all sorts of terrible stuff.
Oh my God.
And so they had this dilemma of, we're free speech.
Right.
So do we do it? Do we do anything about it? We're kind of hoisted by our own petard here. So they've come up with the ruse. Anyway, so it does exist, but Donald Trump's not on it.
That's hilarious. I love that. That's classic cancel culture. Won't let you put beheading videos online.
Yeah.
Oh, they're coming for us next.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, Sue, how have the last 6 months been treating you?
Well, they've had some good moments and some not so good moments.
Mm-hmm.
Been actually fairly probably more, well, I don't know. It's a mixed bag.
Okay. So, well, first off, Harry and Meghan didn't name their baby Elizabeth Oprah, so that.
But very close
No.
with the first name. I was really impressed, like, because in the fact they called her Lilibet, like.
Well, yeah. I mean, they actually leapfrogged my assumption about Elizabeth because they'd not only called her after the Queen, they called her the Queen's pet name, private family pet name, which I don't know how many people outside their family are even allowed to call her that, but they've really put that in the public domain. So, well, go guys.
I was like, risky, bold move there. Yeah. As soon as I saw it, I remember being like, wow, that was like one step further than I was expecting, and possibly was a risky move, wasn't it? Like, it was a weird, awkward time actually with the whole like royal denial and stuff. It's like, but anyway.
But it goes on. I mean, those guys they're going to provide plenty of entertainment for years to come, I think.
They'll all be fine. They're all very rich.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm so worried
I
about
wouldn't
them.
worry about it. Every time I worry about the Queen, I check my pockets and I'm like, oh, she's still on money? I guess she'll be all right. And so
she used a walking stick today for the first time. I just saw on something.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
In public,
I was going to say.
But she's, what is
but
she?
she
She's
is
like 90 now.
96. She's 96.
Yeah.
So,
Cheapers.
she's allowed a
Woman
walking
is a
stick. Give
legend.
the woman a walking stick, for God's sake.
I mean, I'm like 2 weeks away from a walking stick with as big as my baby is. But,
That's got a giant baby. He's literally so big.
So the book project, how's the new project going?
Well, the new project has completely stalled. It's zero progress has been made because my whole kind of parenting writing project has been stymied by a huge dose of intervention of actual parenting that I've had to do.
Oh.
So that people say, oh, that's going to make you so much better at writing a book about parenting, but it wasn't kind of the sort of thing I was hoping to write about. But yeah, so
is that something that you can talk about, or is it not something that you're happy to talk about?
Yeah, no, I am happy to talk about it because I think it's something that people should talk about and shouldn't be a secret, which is it. And I've talked to my daughter about this as well, and she's more than she agrees. In fact, more than she's a stronger advocate than I am for talking about it. So what I'm not talking about, but I am going to talk about
as a preamble to
is she's one of the tens of thousands, maybe more, of people who developed an eating disorder during the winter lockdown. And so it kind of came to light in the spring, just after I spoke to you the first time, actually. I was a bit worried about her when we spoke, and then I just really thought, and I started sort of asking around and looking into resources and thought, actually, this I need to do something about this. And so I spoke to BEAT, which is the eating disorder charity. I went onto their hotline and spoke to one of their sort of counsellor people there and said, this is going on, what do I do? And they said, well, get her to the GP. I couldn't get her to the GP because things were in lockdown. So we had a phone consultation with the GP, and he said, everything's fine, sounds fine to me. And I was like, no, you haven't seen this girl, anyway.
Had she become was she had she become very thin, like dangerously
she
thin?
lost a lot of weight.
Wow.
And
I'm so sorry to hear that.
it was really difficult. We missed it because we were in lockdown. She's wearing tracksuit pants and hoodies, just every day. But in retrospect, she was really cold all the time. And she was running, and she'd kind of go sort of was out longer and longer. It turned out she was doing longer runs. It just is one of these awful things that creeps up, and before you know it, you're in it, and it's really hard to get out. So that's been the most of what happened. So blah blah blah. GP, we messed about for a few weeks with that, and then finally got referred. And in mid-April, she was actually formally kind of diagnosed. And we had thought that she would go into school. She's normally boards during the week because we live out in the country. But so we rented a flat in Brighton where her school is so that she could go as a day girl, just so that she had a bit more supervision of her meals and stuff. But actually, in the end, she was in school for a couple of days, and she just wasn't strong enough to stay in school. So she had most of last term off school, just trying to get better. And so this term then we had the summer, she's gone back, she's now back in school part-time, and we're still back and forth to Brighton. So one of the nice things has been getting to know Brighton, which is a really cool city. But
I love
it's
Brighton.
totally stuffed full of rubbish everywhere. But anyway, that's story.
I'm so that's so awful.
Yeah.
So that must have been so tough, and especially because I mean, you sounded like last time we spoke, you said you'd done the most parenting, more parenting than you'd ever done in 20 20 years or something.
That
And it feels
was
like
nothing.
Yeah, that's right. It feels like it's been a lot since then. So
God.
Yeah.
how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. I mean, my daughter's amazing. You know, she really is. She's really, from the moment she got the diagnosis, she was like, right, okay, I'm gonna beat this thing. And so we've just been working really hard to do it. But it's just so much easier said than done, even with someone with a positive attitude, which she has.
Right.
You know, the disease is very sneaky. It sort of messes around with, you know, her perceptions of things. And also physically, what can happen is that as people start to gain weight, their metabolism speeds up, and they have to have more and more calories to gain weight.
Right.
So where we are now is you know, she's eating everything that she's supposed to, and having, you know, lots of the protocol is 3 meals, 3 snacks a day. She's doing all of that, and it's still quite hard to put on weight. You know, it's just because of the number of calories she actually needs to consume because of what her body's doing catch up.
Oh gosh.
And then there's, you know, the mental stuff is the dark, but she's a fighter, so she's just, you know, really raging against the machine that is the monster.
That's good.
It was interesting because obviously in your book you talk a lot about the influence of social media and all the negative side effects of that as well. Did she say at all whether it had come from anywhere? Do you think that anything like that could have had an influence, or was it just like a random thing that developed because of lockdown? Or
Well, there's a woman whose book we both devoured. She's called Tabitha Farah, and she writes a lot about, and this isn't her own theory, this is a scientific theory, but she's someone who recovered herself from anorexia without treatment. And so she's now a recovery coach. She's but gone into it in really obsessive detail and written a couple of really helpful books about it. And there's a theory that actually it comes from an evolutionary urge. There's a biological component to it, which is generally accepted these days. It's not just a mental disease. That when your body gets into a deficit, for certain people with a genetic predisposition, they are prompted to move a lot and restrict eating. And the theory is that this is an evolutionary migration response to famine, that within the tribe, certain members of the tribe, when things got difficult, would go out and find food and would sort of evolve to keep moving, don't stop and eat, just keep moving. And then when they found the food at the end, if they survived to do that, then they would feast and replenish. But what's happened in our modern society, some people have that urge if they get to a certain level of underweight, that desire to move and restrict eating kicks in, but there's no end goal where they say, now I can rest and recover.
Oh, so
it sounds sort of far-fetched, but actually
makes sense.
It fits with a lot of the characteristics, the typical characteristics of people who get anorexia. You know, they tend to be pretty sort of quite perfectionist, quite outgoing. You know, I mean, not everybody. There's lots of different things. It's a really complicated disease, actually.
So once they start with the kind of not eating a lot, it kind of spirals because it hits this genetic trigger. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Exactly.
That's diabolical. Wow.
Yeah.
So in addition to the kind of the nutrition and the physical things like getting her weight back up and getting her healthy physically, is there like a therapy component to what she's doing?
So we're doing. It's taken a long time, and we've had a couple of different goes because the NHS is so overwhelmed with cases. There's been a 4-fold increase. That's times 4.
Wow.
So it's just nuts. They're just not set up for, you know, remotely for what hit them. But we're really lucky that about 6 weeks ago, having been sort of put on an urgent list in April, we got contacted, and so we're seeing a weekly therapist to just kind of talk through stuff. And I'm not sure. I've never done that. Been in that therapy world before, and I have to say I'm not quite sure where it's taking us. You know, there's kind of just a lot of talking about stuff, and I'm a really practical person. I'm just like, yeah, but what do we do? What do we do? You know, how do I help her? How do I help her when it's got a grip and she's, you know, wanting to like kill me? How do I help her deal with that? You know, that feeling.
You sound so similar to me when I started therapy, because I'd just be like, yeah, but how do I like fix this? Like, what do I? And he'd always just be like, you ask a lot of questions, and I'd be like, yes, because I want to know, like, what do I do? Like, can you answer my questions?
Yeah, let's get this sorted and get out of here, you know.
Yeah,
right.
But actually, it was kind of elusive.
Simple.
There's definitely there were huge benefits to therapy. Like, I had about a year of therapy. It helped me enormously. But then it came to a point where I felt I wanted to focus on moving forward, and I've had like mentoring instead since, and I actually love mentoring, and I think it's just helped me enormously.
But it's good that it's good that I'm glad that your daughter's on a road to recovery. You know.
Yeah, I hope so. She's working so hard, and she's a really fantastic girl. So she'll get there.
Yeah.
It's just am I allowed to swear on the podcast?
Yeah.
It's just a really tough road. It's a really tough road. And I admire her to the bottom of my soul, just what she's putting herself through to try and get back.
Wow, yeah. I hope, yeah. Hope that.
But anyway, that's not all we've done.
I
had
think,
good times too.
massive, congratulations. Really well done for confronting it head on, or really well done for because I think a lot of people don't know what to do and they just sort of don't get involved. And I think the fact that you were able to sort of do something so quickly and, you're a wonderful mum, Sue.
Well, that remains to be seen, but,
So it sounds like obviously you've been having a difficult time, but were you able to still do some fun things over the summer now that we're not in such an intense lockdown anymore, with things have become more normal since we last spoke? And
yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, we made a decision that we wanted to go away in the summer, so we booked to go to Greece. Nice. All of us, and so it was an incredible hassle administratively, filling out all the forms, getting all the vaccines and stuff. But while we were there, they changed the rules and coming back was easier. I can't even remember it anymore. That's right, we were going to have to quarantine when we got back, but we'd sort of made that plan and thought, right, we're just going to do it. Right. But while we were away, they announced they lifted that, so in the end we didn't have to quarantine when we got back. So we went to Greece for 2 weeks and it was absolutely gorgeous. It was wonderful.
Oh, how beautiful. I feel like I was desperate to get away over the summer, but it just seemed so difficult to go anywhere, for the reasons you mentioned with the logistics and stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to Australia in a couple of weeks.
Finally. Oh, that's great news. Finally.
Yeah. We managed to get the government repatriation flights. So I'm looking forward to 18 and a half hours with no food or entertainment.
Is that what are you going out on an Air Force jet or something? What do you mean by repatriation?
Well, the repatriation flights are done by the government with Qantas, so they're not proper flights where you get proper food and entertainment. It's I don't know. Wow. It's crazy what I've heard of.
I like to imagine it's one of those big cargo planes, and they just filled it with hay bales, and you just sit on a hay bale the whole time.
Everyone's sitting on the floor, with the parachute.
Yeah, like your luggage in your lap.
Exactly. But is it a normal Qantas plane?
It is, I think, a normal Qantas plane.
But just without the services, is it?
Without the services, and then you fly into Darwin and then quarantine at Howard Springs for 2 weeks, which is this
really is like the refugee thing, isn't it?
It was all we could get because our commercial flights were cancelled and it's just impossible to get. WA is like a fortress, so trying to get in there has been ridiculous. But anyway, so fingers crossed that all goes ahead because we still have to get multiple PCR tests and all that stuff before we get on there. So,
and then once you get there, will they ever let you out again?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's then you're trapped in this beautiful place, trapped in paradise for the But anyway, we'll see. I don't know. I'm quite happy. We've decided to just go over and to stay there for the moment. We're renting our place out, and
Oh, great. So you're kind of going indefinitely into that.
Yeah, we've just decided to just let the flat and just see what it's like. So I finished the book, absolutely loved it, and thought it was fantastic. What is the news on? Because you were going to release the paperback.
Yeah, the paperback came out.
Yeah,
that came out in early August, and I've actually had some quite fun. I've done some sort of publicity stuff around that, which has been quite fun. Oh, nice. Which I didn't do first time round. So I've done a couple of radio interviews and a TV thing and some newspaper stuff. So that's been really exciting. So and they've done a really great job. In fact, I've shamelessly got a copy to show you because they've done a really great job with the new edition. It's much more user friendly.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's a nice cover.
The cover is it's just much cleaner, and and the print is bigger and there's fewer words on a page, so it just makes it a lot easier. So I'm really excited with the new edition. Anyway, and then I did another podcast. Sorry, not to be disloyal.
Wow, that's really well. This interview is
signed
over.
A contract.
Well, actually, they said they said we've got this piece that's going to go out in the mail, but you can't talk to anyone else because if the mail sniffs that you've got any other press coming out, they'll pull your article straight away.
Oh,
so that's interesting. I didn't know that. But so I did this actually really proper history podcast called Travels Through Time.
Oh,
and
amazing!
It's a great podcast if you're interested in history, and that have proper historians, really proper, kind of Pulitzer Prize-y, but really proper historians. And me, so
so you've made it. You're a proper historian now.
Yeah. Well, no, don't get me started on that. The PRP people wanted to have on my bio that I'm a historian. It's like, no, I'm not an historian. I'm an author. I'm a writer. Oh no, but an historian is someone who writes about history, and you've written about history, therefore you're an historian. It's like, no, I don't want to tell people I'm an historian when I'm not an historian. The whole point is that this is a book of my discovery about stuff that is history. But anyway, but I was on a proper history podcast called Travels Through Time, talking about the printing press and Gutenberg, and that was really fun. That was the most extreme imposter syndrome that I've ever experienced. But I got through to the end, and it's out there on the podcast. So
okay,
that was really fun.
I mean, I just don't. Yeah, I don't think she'd feel any kind of imposter syndrome, because when I was I was thinking about it today, the book is just so well researched. Like, it's just, I don't know how you did it. I was thinking that again. I was like, how on earth did you manage to write this? Because it's just so thorough and so much, like, it's amazing. It must have taken you a long time.
It did take a long time. I confess, it took a long time.
Well, it shows.
Do you feel happy? Like, as in, do you feel happy with the fact that you did that as a project? And do you feel happy with the book? Do you feel happy you took that time?
I do, actually. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a massive one for, patting myself on the back, but I really enjoyed the process of doing it. I love finding stuff out, and I found stuff out, and I love finding patterns, and I found a pattern, and I love, trying to communicate, complicated ideas in a reasonably simple way. And I hope that I managed to do that. So, they're all things that I really like doing, and I think I did them. And so, and there's a book. I mean, it's there, as I, talk about in the chapter on the printing press. Once the book's printed, it's there, it's not lost. So I have an ISDN, or whatever you call it, number, and so there'll be some little trace of that, British Library forever. So
it is such an interesting book. I mean, the things that you tie together are so fascinating. The different bits of technology, human behavior. There was a whole section on mythology, that was kind of talking about mythology and stuff, which I was very keyed into, because that's kind of that's something I really love. Yeah, it's such a fascinating book, and you've done a fine job writing it. It's so good. Fine was a weird compliment, but you've done a great job. I think it's really great. It's super readable.
Well, that's really kind of you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I mean, I wanted it to be readable because, I'm not an historian. Did I mention that?
Yeah. And very adamant about that, actually.
Yeah. So I just, I want it to be the sort of book that you could just pick up and, just read. That, I can't remember. I don't think I told you about the chapter length story, or perhaps you edited that out of the first time we talked.
Maybe. Can you tell us again? So I can edit it out again. I don't remember this, actually. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, the chapters are fairly self-contained, and I did sort of try and judge the chapter length to be about the length of a man's poo.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I don't know why I cut that out.
So you did edit that out. Feel free to edit it out again.
I promise I won't edit it out this time.
No. Look, if it didn't work the first time, there's no. Let's not flog that dead horse.
I don't know why I got edited out the first time. Now I'm angry at myself now. That's the kind of content I want on my podcast.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so you don't. I mean, I don't know. It's scatological humor.
Why not?
So based on that, I'm assuming every chapter is about 45 minutes to an hour. based on our house.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, your boys. Yeah.
No, not really.
It's
just more
fiber.
I think, to be honest, it's more an excuse to have a break, children. If you know what I mean. It's like, oh, I'm just going to the toilet, and you're like, you're really just having a holiday, aren't you?
Yeah.
So what I loved is that you described it as a treasure hunt through time. I think you said something like that. I think you called it
it was
a treasure hunt through history. Yeah. And I feel like that's exactly what it was. Like, that was such a beautiful sort of. I'm sure you said something like that, and I feel like that's what it felt. It feels like that. It kind of feels like you're you're discovering things through time, and it was really fun to kind of go on that journey with you. So I hope it just really keeps going. Do you have any sort of plans to maybe go over and do a book tour in America or something like that?
Well, no. But in fact, it's going to Frankfurt Book Fair. It's probably there now. I'm not sure. It's October, so maybe it's there right now. And if someone buys it, it'll come out. They might change the title and the cover. Otherwise, it'll go out as it is. So it's a sort of slightly complicated thing. The American thing's not quite sorted out, the paperback.
Oh.
It has sold to China, apparently, for a translation into Chinese, which is kind of awesome.
Neat.
Because there's a lot of Chinese people that want to read my book.
That'd be great. Sell a couple
so
of
you
billion
could, like,
copies.
0.0001% market, you're laughing.
Yeah, that is true. Oh,
that'd be
fantastic.
great, yeah.
And was this your first book? So
Yeah.
like your first sort of big book? And would you have called yourself a writer before the
No, definitely not a professional writer. I mean, I wrote for a living in that, that's the end product of what I used to do. But that the writing was about, putting business advice into a digestible form. That wasn't kind of the purpose of it, if you know what I mean. It wasn't to have a publication to distribute. It was to communicate the advice that I was giving.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, this is a new thing for me. So.
And how was you? Because your husband's a writer as well,
Yeah.
and was he supportive of you becoming a writer? Like, what did he
was
say
he
when
jealous?
you said? Was he like,
Eat him up
"Never"?
inside.
No, oh my God, no, he was incredibly supportive. He was brilliant. And in fact, he's anyone who says, because he writes movies, and anyone who says I want to write a movie, I really love to write a movie, and he says, well, just do it. Why don't you just do it?
No.
And so we talked about me doing this book thing for years, and it was just I just never got to it. And then so once I finally got on with it, he was really he's super supportive.
That's nice.
I bet. Did you have lots of conversations with him about the content of the book? I imagine. As
We
he was
did, we did. And I mean, it was a little bit unfair because he stopped talking to me about his movie stuff because I either just switch off because it's been going on for so many years, or I give him really, really great ideas, and then I get kind of annoyed because he never puts them into film, never puts them in the script. I mean, so, but so I was sort of more. I would kind of work through ideas in my kind of as I was articulating them. That would sort of help get them clear in my own head. So yeah, but
And he was kind
great.
enough to talk them through with you, and then you would be like, "I'm not giving you any more amazing ideas for the movie." So
Yeah, well, it's a little bit like the chapter length, anecdote that they just kept getting edited out. So
I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that's tough.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of which,
Actually,
I'm gonna go see his movie on Friday. Will and I are having a date night. So
how exciting!
I would say it's
Yeah.
exciting for him because the movie finally came out. It's been delayed for a year and a half, right?
Yeah, it's really fantastic. I've actually seen it 3 times.
have you?
Really?
Yeah, and it's a
Wow.
really long movie. It's 2 hours 43 minutes.
Yeah.
So that is nearly 9 hours of my life. I've
my
been
gosh.
watching
Wow.
No Time to
Amazing.
Die.
Yeah.
But we all went to the premiere a couple of weeks ago
No.
at the Albert Hall, and then had the big party afterwards. So that was really exciting.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Did you get to meet
Was
Daniel
it-
Craig?
No.
Oh.
Oh.
I didn't even. So it was in the Albert Hall, and they bring on all the cast and introduce the cast, and everybody walks on, and obviously Daniel walked on last because he's the superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was in the box, I was watching it. But apart from that, I didn't see him at the party. They actually did a weird thing because of COVID, but there was a second party that was the sort of VVVIP.
No.
And so we could have gone to that actually, but because we had our kids with us and a couple of friends, we didn't leave the main party side.
What you want to say is you're of the people, so you don't want to go to the VVIP party. You want to stay with
Well,
the hoi polloi and the regular party.
Well, none of the VVVIPs want to talk to me.
Right.
So what's the point of going and going, oh, hi, guess what? I'd much rather be with my kids and friends.
You got to get in there and push the book, Sue. You can't
Yeah.
think about yourself anymore. You got to just market.
Yeah.
The thing that's going to
You know,
help is
get
if
it
you
in
get
front
a
of-
picture. If somebody takes a picture of like Daniel Craig or Ben Whishaw holding your book.
Yeah. Damn it. I should have just taken that bigger handbag and put it in.
I mean, that is absolutely like what you should have been doing. I wish I was there to be like marketing you or like pushing you with the PR stuff. Maybe have you got someone who's like pushing you with PR stuff?
Well, no. Well, I did for a while, but I've just kind of stopped it. It was just like,
You need Tara to follow you around with a backpack full of your book, so that if you ever meet everybody you meet, Tara can be right behind you with like, and the book.
Yeah, well, I have asked Rob to, because he travels up to London quite a lot, and he also on the train, and he also spends a lot of time in cafes and pubs and stuff because he gets bored working at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, can you just please, wherever you go, just have the book on the table next to you, just to refer to it occasionally, and just so that because that thing, if you see people reading something on the train and just the cover looks nice or whatever, you think, oh, that looks interesting. I wonder, I might have a little look into what that is. Just to get it into people's face.
Yeah, if you could just spend 10 minutes a day in a public place reading the book and occasionally making like laughter or like just being like, That's very smart.
Yeah.
Like, just that kind of thing. How
Maybe,
interesting.
Maybe
Yeah.
you could ask him if he'd make it into a movie.
There you go.
Yeah.
A history of seeing the movie.
Yeah. I'm not sure there's enough car chases in it for
That's
his
true.
liking, but
It is lacking in the car chase department.
There,
I'll be
yeah,
honest.
you could have put a couple. Maybe in the is it in the paperback? Did you put the car chases in the paperback?
oh God, so many missed opportunities.
But I think I don't know. I'm excited for you, Sue. I think it's gonna pick up.
I think it's
for
amazing.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's such a fun book to read. It's like if you're of a curious nature and you're interested in the way that things connect together, I think that it's such a fun and interesting book to read, and it gives you lots of really interesting things to talk about at cocktail parties because there's amazing bits and pieces. I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, did you know that people before lights they would sleep for 4 hours and then get up for like 4 hours and then go back to sleep for 4 hours? Like that's amazing.
That's one of the best facts in the whole
I
book.
love
You know,
that.
my husband's obsessed with that fact. Yeah.
I'm like, can I structure my life like that? Because sometimes I just wake up in the middle of the night and then I'm just like, well, shit, now I'm awake, and now I'm just like, I have to...
No, but you just have to think that's perfectly normal. That's what everybody used to do before they had artificial light.
See, now I'm going to start getting up in the middle of the night, go watch a movie, and then come back.
I feel like that's not quite the principle of the book.
That's
Matt,
the principle of the book.
Well, I don't. Yeah. Well, the trouble is, then you kind of you've got to zoom forward to the other chapters about the screen and how that messes up with your sleep patterns and stuff. So
shoot.
maybe not watching a movie, but
Fine.
Yeah, just sitting by candlelight or something like that.
yeah, just having quiet little time.
Oh, Sue, I meant to
Sweeping the
ask you:
floor.
are you still doing your sea swimming?
I was going to ask that. Damn it.
Oh,
That was the last thing I wanted to
you know,
ask.
Well, it's October now.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, one of the funny things about being in Brighton a lot is that, like, you know, because the city sort of stretches out along the seafront, and at any sunny day, I keep seeing these gaggles of women, middle-aged women, in their dry robes and their hair with matted hair and flip-flops on, all looking a bit cold. And I just, oh God, yeah. So there are just posses of women all along the seafront in Brighton in the early time of the morning who are doing their sea swimming. But I haven't been one of them.
No.
Oh,
So,
Sue,
no.
Dude, aren't
no.
you like,
No,
those
I
are
know.
my people? My people.
I know. Well, like, it's, you know, that funny thing when you see people and they look like they kind of, you know, and I'm like, do they look like my friends? Do we really look like that? Like, oh, that group's they're quite upright. No, that's not, we're not like, that's not my friend. But so, yeah, I do sort of almost want to do that thing of, you know, like kids in the playground. It's like, can I come with you next time? Because, you know, my friends are further up the coast and I can't get there in time to do swimming, but you guys are doing it right here and I'm just staying up the road. Anyway, so no, I mean, I did swim over the summer, but that, I don't think that really counts because it's summer.
Especially if you're in Greece. That sounds really nice, actually.
Well, yeah. No, but I did swim here in the summer as well, but only on really hot days. We had a few of those.
Oh, well, I hope you get back into it.
You know,
'cause
might
I
get
was
back
really-
into it. Yeah.
I was impressed by that. I thought that was really
I
awesome.
was too.
I want to get it.
I had completely forgotten that we had talked about that, and then I was listening back when I was listening back to get ready for this. I was like, yeah, the sea swimming. I'm so curious about that now.
Yeah, no, I had the same experience. It's like, oh, damn it. I'm going to have to fess up that I haven't been doing it.
Well, winter's around the corner.
But
and
look, it just hasn't been cold enough. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, one thing I wanted to say as well was I think it would be so lovely if you would record the audiobook for your. Do you think that you could do that? Just for me.
Funny enough. Well, I would really love to do that. And in lockdown, I was going to do it, and in fact, Matthew, maybe we could have an offline conversation about it. I couldn't I've tried to set it up in GarageBand,
Okay.
and I just couldn't figure it out. Maybe I was I was overcomplicating it, and I just need to do it with, I don't know. So I would like to do it now that I've had the excruciating experience of hearing myself on the radio a couple of times and the other podcast, and because I have a weird accent because I've lived here for ages, but I'm obviously still Australian, but it's slightly gone off a bit. So.
Preach.
So I would. So anyway, but yeah, no, I've had various people, because I think it would be a good audiobook just because, this whole thing about the chapter and the chapter length, that's also about the length of like people's, like a dog walk,
Right.
So.
But anyway, I think other people would also enjoy your voice on the audiobook.
Hey, you got a solid
Well, thank you. That's very kind.
professional sounding voice.
Well, I'll pitch that to the publishers. Yeah. I think it needs to be, again, I'm really bad. I mean, it's really bad considering that I have a business background, that I don't know more about the business of publishing, but I think it needs to be commissioned by all. I don't know. Anyway,
If you just
By
did it on your
Audible.
own and you took it to your publisher, you'd be like, here it is.
well, this was what I was planning to do over the lockdown, and then kind of lost it, and then got distracted by other events. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but if I can just get the microphone to plug into the laptop and get it recorded, then watch this space.
Oh, well, hopefully that works out. I guess the last thing we have is just what's next for you. What do you think is the next thing on your plate? What do you think?
Well, number one priority is getting my daughter better, and assuming we can get that kind of well on the way in the next few months, then I do want to circle back to the parenting project that I talked to you about 6 months ago, because it's just sort of sitting there simmering away. Occasionally I have to think about it, and so that would be I guess what's next. But first things first.
Yes, and we hope that your daughter swift recovery for her. And
thank you very much.
Her final year of high school and on to college, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cool. And then thanks again. If people want to find you, I guess the book is in stores now in paperback. It's called.
So it's a history of seeing in 11 Inventions.
Yes, formerly known as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, but it's now it's very much a history of seeing in 11 Inventions now. Another thing I've been doing is just sort of little things, but it's putting little snippets of history of seeing facts and pictures on my Instagram most days. I haven't managed it every single day, but most days. So if anyone wants to look at that, my Instagram is Sue Denham, which is PSUEDENHAM, pseudonym, which is kind of a gag because my name is Sue Denham.
Right.
But anyway, so I think if you just type in Susan Denham, it'll come up, or Sue Denham, or whatever, it'll come up.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
we'll tag you in the post as well.
We'll put a link in the
nice.
in the description. But yeah, people should check out the book. Get it wherever you support your local bookseller. Get a book.
Local bookseller, ideal.
Yeah.
Ideally, and Christmas is coming. Really great Christmas present for any of those people who you just can't think what they need.
Legit good Christmas present. Tara and I both read it. We both really enjoyed it. It's a fascinating book.
It's a really great book if you want to also feel more intelligent.
Yeah.
I think it's a classic Christmas present if you want to give it to someone who you're like, you know what, they could really, they could learn a thing or two.
Yeah. You're like, hey, you're stupid. You need this book. Hey, don't even wait for Christmas. Halloween's right around the corner. Thanksgiving. These are all great holidays. Give a book to somebody.
But no, it's a really enjoyable read, and if not, buy it for yourself as well, and all your family for Christmas. Yeah. So we'll put a link to Sue's page and also the book in the description. Is there anything else you want to plug as well, Sue, other than your own social media and the book?
No, I can't think of anything to plug. Okay. Let's have a look. No. Well, I guess this doesn't really need a plug, but No Time to Die, excellent film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go see. And is it Daniel Craig's last one?
Yeah.
So go watch that. It's a great film. Well, that's a complete lie. I haven't seen it. I'm gonna see it on Friday, and I'm really
By
excited.
the time this episode comes out, Tara will know it's a great movie. But now she's just taking Sue's word for it.
Yeah, I believe you, Sue. All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Sue. It's been such a pleasure. I've absolutely loved it.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Sue. This has been great.
It's been really fun.
All right, take care.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys too. Take care. Bye.
So here's the thing, is that harp music is actually really boring, is something I found out over the last 6 months. And I don't know that if it's going to be harp music that's going to be, but I do think that gentle music is really, I was like, what are the kids listening to? That new Billie Eilish album is pretty gentle. So maybe it's stuff like that. Not necessarily harps, but I think maybe folk's going to have a big return. Folk music is going to be big. So, but harps maybe not as much. I don't know.
I love the way you say folk. That's
folk?
So funny.
Folk.
I say folk,
wow.
but you say folk.
It's funny because I think if I said folks.
No, I wouldn't say folk. Oh, you're saying folks as in my folks.
Yeah, your folks. I'm like, hey, folks. But then if I'm saying the music, I'm like, folk. Very odd. Yeah.
That sounds very funny to me.
Right?
I'd never say folk. I don't know anyone that says folk other than you, but maybe people do.
Folk. Now it sounds weird.
There might be others out there.
Folk.
Anyway, this is some truly blissful interview style stuff going on here.
Yeah. But
folk.
Are you still doing the HelloFresh?
Do you know what's hilarious is I cancelled HelloFresh shortly after that, the 6 months ago episode. And then literally about 10 days ago, I was like, I just got a voucher for HelloFresh for 40% off. So I was like, I'll do it. So we had it this last week, which was so weird because it was like, oh my God, is this just what happens every 6 months? You're like, maybe I will try that. Anyway, yeah, definitely can. I cancelled it again. It just annoys me too much because there's just so much chopping and stuff that you don't know what you're doing, and it says that it takes 25 minutes but it actually takes you 45 minutes because you don't know what you're doing. And anyway, that's what I find. So
actually, you mentioned in the listening back, you mentioned risotto and I was like, well, that sounds good, and then I made risotto the other night. So I'm just like, oh,
Risotto is
Risotto is
awesome.
pretty
I love
nice, yeah.
risotto.
Makes a nice risotto.
I also just don't think it makes sense financially. Like, as in, once you're paying full price, like it just feels like you're paying like double what you would if you got it at the supermarket. So
I mean, it's just, that's the thing, is it's like, for when Tavish was little, like, and we were just like ridiculously like crazy, things were just super crazy, it was super handy. I do think it is handy in that respect, like if you're really busy. So, but I don't know.
Oh, for sure. But I also think there's way too much packaging.
packaging,
That's my other qualm.
You know what's a shame is maybe the HelloFresh people were listening to the first half of this episode and they're like, oh, these people, we should sponsor them. And then they listen to the second half and they're like, oh, they're shitting on our product. Like, forget that.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Sorry about that,
HelloFresh. We blew our one chance at sponsorship. Hey, if you're from Blue Apron and you're listening, you can definitely sponsor us. We love Blue Apron.
If anyone wants to sponsor us, please do. Bike riding. I've got a note saying bike riding. Did we talk about bike riding? Were you doing
got
bike
a
riding?
new bike. How is Sammy's bike? Yeah, so has Sammy learned to ride his bike? Or are you still living in shame with Sammy? Just like, just looking at him every day like, you dumb son of a bitch. I can't believe I gave birth to such a useless child. Can't ride a bike.
Oh my god. I'm definitely not looking at him like that.
You can't even look at him.
Fantastically on his bike. He's so good at it now. He just flies along. He's super fast. Although we had like a really scary incident with Sam on Monday night. He really scared me because, well, it wasn't his fault, but I came in and he was like shaking, like in his bed, just shaking. And I thought he was having a seizure. And I like freaked out and got Will to get off his work call and call 999, and the ambulance came and his temperature was like 41 degrees and they took him to hospital.
Oh my god.
And it was really so scary. I think it was like the most scared I've ever been in my life. Like it's crazy once you have kids. Like it's this really weird feeling where you just have this thing of like, just take my life. Like as in like, let the kid live. Like just whatever it takes. Like save the kid. Like
you weren't actually saying that you weren't in the hospital. You were just like, take me, God. It's like, ma'am, he has a fever. It's gonna be okay. Like, what do you need? Blood from my veins? Take it.
I was genuinely, I was so scared.
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry.
I've never been that scared. It was so stressful. But he was okay. He had a chest infection and they put him on antibiotics. But he'd been fine in the day. That was the weird thing. Like it was just such a shock to walk in and he's suddenly like shaking out of control and wouldn't respond to anything. And but anyway, this is what the ups and downs of having kids. But he is, obviously he can be very moody and whiny and difficult, but suddenly when that kind of thing is happening, you're just like, I love this kid more than anything. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like,
It's funny because you talked a lot about mom rage in the first half and now you're just like, why was I ever mad at him? He's such a precious little baby.
Yeah, God. It's weird though. The mom rage thing is I don't know, that's intense as well. I feel like I'm working on it. I think I'm getting maybe a bit better.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like everybody feels it. That was one of the things that even before I was a parent, I had a friend who was just like, he was talking about how like just one day his partner was just like kicked out the panes in a window like in like of a door, like, and I was just like, and like just a level of rage they'd never even seen before. And it was just like, it's just like they just get to you sometimes, and it's just, what are you gonna do? But I think the thing is just acknowledging it and like, I don't know, dealing with it.
What's hilarious is I don't smack them, but
Sam. Hey, applause here for that.
Thank you. No, I don't smack them, but I said to Sam, I was like, do you want to smack bottom? And he was like, yes, give me a smack bottom. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, and I don't know why I ever said that. Like, because it was just such a, like, an empty threat. Like, because obviously I'm not going to give him a smack, but like, it just was so annoying then. Because then he's like literally pulling down his pants, being like, give me a smack. Like,
wow.
I was like, what the heck?
He called your bluff. Anyway. He's just like, you want to do this? Let's go. I'm ready to go now.
Yeah. He's like, smack. Give a smack bottom. Anyway, I don't know. I did. Yeah, I'm not giving him a smack, but it just really annoyed me that like there's literally nothing I can say to him that will make him like listen. He just does not care about consequences.
Sorry.
Other than if I say I'm going to take his Superman outfit away, that really does work. Other than everything, that's the one
that
thing.
works. That works. Alice does that to me all the time, and it's like it always works.
Hey, how was your first week of stay-at-home daddyhood? How was that?
It was all right. Yeah, no, it was fine. Yeah, it's just been very tiring. I'm very tired tired. I fell asleep. I had to wake up to do this. It is 7:30 at night. I had to wake up to do this. I'm so tired.
Do you have like a whole new level of respect for like people who are stay-at-home parents?
No, if anything, I have less respect for those people. But you guys are suckers. Why would you even be you idiots? Especially people who have more than one kid. Why would you do this to yourself more? I don't know. I always had a lot of respect for people who are parents. I understand it's a difficult job. I've never been like driving past somebody pushing a stroller and like been like, get a job, loser. Like what?
I feel like I've seen you do that at least
I did
twice.
it one time, but that was they were pushing the stroller very slowly.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry to hear. Well, no, but so what? Take me through. Like, why has it been so hard?
It hasn't been hard actually. It's been actually relatively easy. The only thing that is annoying is he won't drink formula and he won't drink milk from a bottle. Until now it had been Alice and I trading off for
Yeah.
And so now that it's just me, it just now twice as much work. Probably more than twice as much work.
Yeah.
But
That's a
yeah,
lot.
so that's just it. It's not a big deal. I'm of a very lazy nature, so even the slightest amount of work is just this. So I don't know. I think I'll get more into a rhythm of it, as time goes on.
Well, I'm sure you'll do great. I mean, yeah, I think it's full on. I feel like it's full on every time Will is not home.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because normally we sort of share it to some degree. Anyway, I'm sure you're doing great. So keep up the good work. I'll send you some like fun, I don't know, emojis or something. I'll try and send like fun, like maybe like e-cards just to like cheer you up in the
a
day.
jib-jab. Thank
Just be
you.
like,
Anyways, so, well, thanks everybody for listening
yeah, thanks guys. Thank
to
you
what
so
we
much.
think was a very fun interview with Sue. We were talking about that before we
Yeah, I
recorded.
love that. That was awesome.
Had a very fun interview with Sue. And just real quick, we did bring up eating disorders, the kind of the issues that Sue's family had been having with eating disorders. And if you have had any issues or anyone in your family has had any issues and you're looking for resources, we're going to put a couple links in the description. One is to Beat, which is a UK-based eating disorder charity, and then also a US-based National Eating Disorder Association. So if you or someone close to you is struggling, there are resources out there, and we hope that you will be able to find help for those things. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys.
But thanks again for listening. And if you want to check us out, we're 6 Months Later Pod on all the things, or you can email us directly at 6monthslaterpod@gmail.com. We love to get emails. Still running strong with that one email, so more emails would be amazing. And please rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. If you're just out there, when you're in waiting rooms, again, waiting rooms are kind of a thing. So maybe just if you're listening in a waiting room, just maybe do like a really big laugh right now, and then be like, it's just this podcast. These people, it's called 6 Months. Have you not? Oh my god, you have to. Anyway, something like that, but make it your own. And yeah, if people want to find Tara, where can they find you, Tara?
You can find me on Tara the Ham, tara.the.ham on Instagram, and I don't know, am I on other stuff? I don't know what else I'm on, but definitely Instagram. And yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see you there.
Yeah,
That'd be
you
fun.
can find Tara there. Maybe find her herself. She can find herself there.
Yeah.
And if you want to find me, I'm M. Shorn on Instagram, but I also have another podcast called Saint Misbehavin', which is back for season 2, starting now. Now it's available. We have a new episode. Oh, also, I was on Jackie Cation's podcast. Did I tell you this?
What? No,
I was
that's
on
so
Jackie
exciting.
Cation's podcast. So if you listen to the episode of The Dork Forest, that I think comes out the same day as this.
Oh my god, what did you talk
I
about?
talked about you. I'm obsessed with Tara Noonworth.
That would be really creepy.
No, so let me tell you all how great Tara is. Just an hour of her like, really? No, I talked about this thing called the Criterion Collection, which is a curated series of DVDs and Blu-rays that I have over 400 of. And so my obsession with that and my history with that, and it's a fun little discussion. So yeah, you can check out the new episode of The Dork Forest. It was just really delightful to talk to Jackie again.
Oh, I love Jackie. That's so
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome, Matt. I'm stoked for you.
So yeah, so check that out.
I'm stoked for Jackie as well, that she got to have the privilege of your company on her podcast.
Oh.
Any other news? Anything else you want to add in there?
No, I got nothing else.
No. Just thanks for listening, guys. Like, we love you in a deep way. It's a deep
It
love.
is. It's truly,
So,
truly madly deeply. But thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you again next week.
in 6 months. Take
Bye.
it easy. Maybe I'm just trying to make excuses for myself and my own failings.
What did you do? Wait, was it you who leaked the virus from the Wuhan facility? Damn it, Tara.